Hello, hello, and welcome back to MoJo, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the one and only Powerpuff Girls / JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast. I'm Raven, my pronouns are they, them.
I'm Alison, and my pronouns are she or her, or sometimes people call me lady.
So this week we are discussing the final 2 episodes of Stardust Crusaders, which are called Dio's World Part 3 and Long Journey Farewell, My Friends. But before we get into those, just a reminder to, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the pod, follow the pod. It might be called something different depending on what you're listening to this on. Comment, leave us a review. We'd love to get some feedback, and we might even read your review on the show.
And we also have another podcast called What We Pod in the Shadows, where we're discussing episodes of What We Do in the Shadows, which is a comedy about some vampires and their familiar that live on Staten Island. And we're currently on season 4.
It's a pretty fun show. You might want to check it out if you love vampires, but you wish they were a little bit less evil than Dio.
Did you have news?
Technically, yes. So, Tubi, the free streaming service, is getting basically like a ton of Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network shows on there starting March 1st, including the Powerpuff Girls and like K&D and like the 70s Addams Family cartoon and a bunch of Scooby-Doos and stuff like that. I'm pretty hyped about that. Tubi just like, it has everything on there that you didn't know you needed, but also I didn't need these because I'm always wanting to rewatch them.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yay, Tubi stays winning. I wish I had some more news about Part 7, but they still haven't told us who the dub voice actors are going to be or what the ending theme song is, so I'm begging them for it to not be Pony. That's all I ask.
Oh, God. What do we say? Old Town Road, maybe?
Yeah, Old Town Road, A Horse with No Name. I feel like there's like a 4th one, but I can't think of any other songs that might fit. So she'll be fun. Just please, I beg of you, whoever is in charge of getting the copyright, please.
They might do like Dead or Alive, Bon Jovi or something.
Maybe.
Is that from like Young Guns?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen Young Guns.
I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. I wanted Dead or Alive.
I'm aware of the song. I'm just not sure if it was in Young Guns.
Well, I mean, it was probably in the credits. But yeah. I could be wrong. I'm not sure what other... There's lots of country music songs that could be picked.
And in varying degrees of quality.
But I'm not sure about, like, specific, like, cowboy songs.
Yeah, like, does Dolly have one? That might be acceptable for me.
Oh. This one's from, like, old ones, like Home on the Range, Get Along Little Doggies, Ghost Riders in the Sky, Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. Back in the Saddle Again, Don't Take Your Guns to Town. Apparently Garth Brooks had a rodeo one.
That should not surprise me. Alright, I guess I'll start talking about Dio's World Part 3. So we basically pick up where we left off. Dio and Jotaro are punching each other so hard that they basically like start floating in the air. Dio has a golden aura around him and manages to finally get a hit on Jotaro. Dio declares that this proves Star Platinum isn't as powerful as the world and he'll finally be rid of the Joestars monster for once and for all. He summons the world and stops time. Dio is about to do a chop on Jotaro when he notices one of his fingers twitching. Dio is distracted by this and stops because he thought no one could possibly be able to move when time stops. Dio is horrified because he thinks maybe Star Platinum is the same type of stand as the world. When he starts time again, he demands to know if Jotaro could follow his movements with his eyes. Jotaro's just like, what the hell are you talking about? Jotaro develops a similar golden aura and bypasses Dio in flight by bumping into this building and then brr, brr. Dio follows after and is like, "You can't evade me forever, bench." Dio reveals that he's only been able to stop time for 6 months now. In flashback, we see Loser fire a gun at Dio's back, but the world stops time and dodges still bullets and is even able to interact with them. Inuyama cheers him on and tells him soon he'll be a master of time, but he needs to be able to move through still time as naturally as breathing, and that he needs to treat it as completely ordinary to do so. Dio then has this epiphany that he's Dio, and his purpose is to best all other stand users. In present time, he calls on the world to grind to a halt and freezes Jotaro once more. He is able to sneak up on him, but notices Jotaro's twitching fingers. Dio laughs maniacally, however, when he realizes that Jotaro has planted a magnet on him to make it appear that Jotaro was moving as Dio approached him. The magnet was probably too small to do that with real-life physics, however. So he had a magnet on Dio and I think one in his sleeve or something.
Yeah.
Dio calls it an inane trick and says Jotaro has only postponed the inevitable by a few seconds when Jotaro puts his fist through Dio's midsection. Dio's all like, "What?" as he realizes that Jotaro actually can move for a few seconds while Dio activates his stance ability. The magnet was actually tricked to make Dio think Jotaro couldn't move. Time starts again, and Jotaro throws Dio through a store window, where Dio's leg is severed by a hunk of glass. Jotaro hangs from a sign above a bookstore across the street, and seems pleased that he can move through Dio's time stop, but disappointed that he only has time for a single punch. Dio yells at a woman in the store to fetch him his leg. When Jotaro hops back on the ground, Dio is healed up because he's drained the woman. Jotaro's like, "I guess I'll have to blow your head off to actually take you out." Dio stops time to make it look like he's teleporting all around Jotaro, mocks Kakuin's sacrifice, and is like, "I bet you can only move around for a few seconds of frozen time." He's like, "It doesn't matter anyways, because I can move longer than you," and threatens Jotaro with the type of knife he used to take out Gramps. He freezes time and throws at least 3 rounds of knives at Jotaro. When Star Platinum shows up to knock a bunch of the knives away, there are a shit ton, however, and so when time restarts, he is still hit by several. Dio's like, "It's over, but I can't be too careful," and tosses a knife into Jotaro's forehead. He then monologues about how perfect his stand is and that only he can be a master of time, a Time Lord, if you will, as Jotaro falls to the ground. Jotaro lies there, but because he stuffed his clothes with magazines, he softened the knife blow significantly. I don't know how he did something to protect his little skull when he got the knife to the head, though.
Well, I think it just, because the hat sits high, I think it just went through the hat, but
maybe, yeah.
Didn't go through his head at all.
So he's kind of like that he assumed Dio would throw knives at him, but just not that many, and he decides to play dead. He knows that because Dio can regenerate, he'll need to bash his head in. Dio says that because the Joestars have an uncanny ability to cheat death, he's going to decapitate Jotaro with a big-ass sign. However, Polnareff, with a steel chair, leaps up and goes on to pierce Dio's skull with Silver Chariot's blade. Dio stops time and gets Polnareff's blade out of his head, and then he kind of punches him into a wall, and Polnareff lands back into the crumbling wall unconscious. Jotaro freaks out because he realizes he needs to play dead or Dio will absolutely take him out, but he's not sure how to fake his death at first. Dio turns his attention away from Polnareff and back on Jotaro. 2 cops show up and pull their guns on Dio, but he kills one and forces the other to shoot Jotaro in the torso. Apparently Dio heard a funny noise and thinks it's Jotaro, but not only is Jotaro able to hold his breath, but also able to get Star Platinum to stop his heart, so Dio can't hear it beating. So basically he has Star Platinum reach in there and physically stop his heart.
Yeah, the part where he shot him, Star Platinum grabbed that bullet too. So it didn't actually shoot him.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Dio decides he still wants to decapitate Jotaro just in case, but Star Platinum restarts Jotaro's heart and dents the shit out of the big-ass sign as Dio tries to wail on him. Jotaro pops up and lands a literally skull-shattering punch to Dio's head. He seems to have actually given Dio brain damage as he no longer has control over his legs. Jotaro's like, you wouldn't kill my friends, so I will kick you while you're down. But Dio is able to summon his stand to stop time again, crawls away until he's able to grab onto the back of a car and speed away. Jotaro is also a quick thinker, however, and throws a knife at the car, and I don't know if he gets like a tire or what, but then Dio falls off. He tries to crawl away into the sewer, but Jotaro's already waiting for him in there. Jotaro
is like some Bugs Bunny shit.
Yes, yeah, he must have learned it from Joseph. Jotaro pummels him, warping and putting holes into his body, but to his horror, Jotaro realizes Dio wanted him to punch him in that direction, right over to Gramps' body. Dio drains him and is able to use Joestar blood to restore himself and finally fuse correctly to Jonathan's body. And yeah, that's the end of the episode.
Jotaro poured gasoline on him, didn't he?
Oh yeah, yes he did.
And tried to light him.
Yeah.
He started crawling away. I don't know, I kind of call foul and yeah, I wanted you to punch me down that certain street. I mean...
It's just kind of how JoJo fights are. Everyone's like, oh, actually, I had the upper hand the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a lot of fighting here. The part where his leg was sliced off by getting thrown, I think it was through a jewelry store maybe or something. I'm not sure. But I was like, why is it so easy to harm Dio here? Because I know he heals quickly, but I just kind of thought he had... Vampires usually kind of have a super strength or whatever, so I was a little confused there.
Yeah, it's not like there was Haman in that window.
And then he's just so distracted the whole time by, oh no, Jotaro twitched his fingers. He could have just finished the job. I think in the next episode, Jotaro said something about that Dio only made one mistake, but I feel this... And I forget what that mistake was, but it's a pretty big mistake to not just take your advantage and just take him out.
I know. And it's not like Dio cares about being an honorable dude. He's just you can't do the thing that I can do. How dare you?
Yeah, it was just kind of an ego thing. Oh my god, can he stop time as well? No way.
Dare he copy me? I'm Dio. I'm the best. Blah blah blah.
I'm still kind of weirded out with the sucking the blood out with the hands thing. I don't get that.
Yeah. The closest thing I can think of to a vampire doing that is the Cirque du Freak books. Instead of biting people on the neck, they would get them with their long ass fingernails, but they still drank the blood. They just used their nails instead.
I mean, it is kind of if you're just doing it with your hand, it's not as personal or close up. To actually put your mouth on someone else's neck, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it is a little... I don't want to necessarily say sexual, but kind of
a little.
Very... I guess I don't have the word for it, but you're really getting personal. You're really getting close to someone.
Yeah.
So, if the person's, not clean or, I don't know, or you don't like them, to put your mouth on someone's neck that you don't know is kind of strange.
Yeah.
So I guess I can see, if you can just do it with your hand, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I think in Cirque du Freak, it was because it would be a lot less messy, and then to potentially bite a chunk out of someone's neck. Fingernails it is.
Yeah, I could maybe be a little more precise, I guess. Kind of using a knife, I guess, if your nails were really sharp, but...
Yeah.
I just don't see also Jotaro just having magnets on him.
Yeah.
Or even just how quickly he heals is almost crazy.
Yeah,
an entire leg coming off. I would think you'd have to go somewhere for a few days at least. And,
absolutely.
Heal, but whatever. Yeah, I'm not totally sure what to think of Jotaro also being able to do the thing, the time. I don't know if it's kind of Dio had to initiate the time I don't know if Jotaro could do it himself, right? The stopping time. It's like Dio had to do it first, but then Jotaro was able to move. But no, he stopped Dio too, though, didn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little confusing.
Maybe you just needed to watch Dio do it first or something to pick it up.
But I'm just not sure about, like, him also being able to do the same thing.
Right.
Like, that's what we're bringing on at the end, and then he picked it up so quickly. I don't know. It's always like Jotaro can do anything.
Yeah. You just constantly need to be able to have him there to just, like, one up whoever they're fighting at the time.
Yeah. But when he punched Polnareff, didn't he put, like, one of them big holes in him? Like what happened to Kakyoin?
I actually don't remember.
I think, hold on. Polnareff. Okay, I guess I didn't write it down. I was thinking it was like a similar, like, just giant hole in his body, and I'm like, he's not gonna live. But yeah, he's got, like, when Jotaro punches him in the head and it, like, crushes his skull, he's just got, like, a little geyser of blood just continuously coming out the side the whole time. Okay, so the last episode, Long Journey, Farewell, My Friends. Dio gets his Joker glow up. Dio gloats about how much he enjoys Gramps' blood, then scratches at his head and draws blood. That was just, like, bizarre. He's just, like, scratching real hard, and I don't know. It's like he's went insane. And, like, when I say he got his Joker glow up, it's like his hair's super spiky. Like, he looks like a different person.
Yeah.
He's got, like, purple lipstick on or something. I don't know. He looks different after he takes Gramps' blood. Jotaro furiously comes closer until he sees Gramps' soul leaving his body. Gramps tells Jotaro he needs to keep his cool no matter what. He tells him to use the 2 or 3 seconds he can move when time is frozen wisely. He says he's accepted his fate and that this journey was the most fun he's had in a long time. Dio plunges his hand into Gramps' chest and sucks out the blood until Gramps is a dry husk. Jotaro does lose his cool at seeing this and runs to confront Dio. Time is again stopped during the opening theme song. Dio brings out the world. Then after 4 seconds, Star Platinum punches like crazy. Dio can now stop time for 9 seconds and weirdly drills a finger into his temple. I said he seems insane. Like, he keeps, like, picking at himself and drawing blood. They kept just, like, counting down. Like, they'll just monologue forever and they'll be like, now that's 9 seconds.
I know.
It's like, dude, it's been way more than 9 seconds.
It's been like 30 minimum.
He starts punching Jotaro and sends him flying. He punches and kicks him. Jotaro hits a building and falls. Dio brings out the world again. Dio lands and seems to disappear to Jotaro. Dio counts to 7 and then tries to drop a large piece of equipment on Jotaro like a steamroller. Star Platinum and the world furiously punch. Yeah, so why can Dio lift a steamroller? That's what I'm saying. Like, how was Jotaro able to, like, hurt him so easily before? And he said, like, has super strength.
Yeah.
Star Platinum and the world furiously punch. Then there is silence. And there's a bunch of blood coming out from under the steamroller. Dio does a victorious monologue, as time has been stopped now for 10 seconds. So he thinks he's killed Jotaro because of the blood, but he wants to examine Jotaro's body and drink his blood, but he's now frozen. Jotaro pops up and says he stopped time at 9 seconds, and that he can destroy Dio in only 1 second. Jotaro seems to kick Dio, and when time starts again, Dio falls to the ground, bleeding like his legs are broken at the knees. So I didn't really catch totally what happened there.
Yeah, I didn't quite either. I just have, like, he starts flailing and losing blood everywhere.
Jotaro says it wouldn't be honorable to kill him that way. I don't understand why not.
Yeah.
Dio hasn't been honorable in any way, and he's been trying to kill them this whole journey.
Yeah.
With sending all kinds of assassins their way, so whatever. Dio monologues in his head and then somehow manages to spray blood from his legs into Jotaro's eyes. I don't know how that works. Dio tries to stop time then, but Jotaro is ready with Star Platinum. Star Platinum punches the world, and at first his fist cracks, but then the world cracks up its whole body, and this is echoed in Dio. So Dio is like cracked. It's not super symmetrical, but up his whole body is like split in half. Dio yells that it's impossible and that he's immortal until his head and a couple limbs explode. I think it was maybe just like one limb in his head explode. Jotaro said Dio's only mistake was pissing him off. And like I said, I think Dio's made a bunch of mistakes because every time he freaked out because Jotaro twitched a little bit when he stopped time, like he had that opportunity.
Absolutely.
That he could have killed Jotaro.
Yeah.
While the time was stopped, but he's like, no way, can he also stop time? The Speedwagon Foundation has picked up Dio's body along with Gramps and Jotaro. They plan to expose the body to the sun. Polnareff is in another vehicle. Jotaro wants to take blood from Dio and give it back to Gramps. Jotaro uses Star Platinum to pump Gramps' heart. They start the transfusion, and Gramps begins to plump back up. He has brain activity, and his vitals are stable. Gramps sits up and laughs evilly and pretends they brought back Dio. When Jotaro freaks, Gramps says he's kidding and starts spewing facts about his life. Jotaro asks him a Tarzan and Weird Al question to further prove Gramps is Gramps. They put Dio in the sun, and he disintegrates into dust, and it floats up into the sky. They remember Kakyoin, Iggy, and Avdol. At the airport, Gramps asks Polnareff to go back with him to New York, but Polnareff wants to return to France, even though he has no family, they said. I'm not sure what happened to their parents.
I know that they said that, like, they died when Polnareff was younger, but that's about it that I remember them saying.
Okay.
I don't know if he had to, like, raise his sister even, like...
Yeah, maybe. They hug and go their separate ways. Back in Japan, Holly sits up. She can feel Gramps and Jotaro are on their way home. Jotaro on the plane looks at the Polaroid of the group. So that one that they took when they were, like, in the desert of all the guys, including Iggy and everything. And then that was the end. I didn't really like that, it's like, how many episodes? 48 episodes, and they just kind of ended it very abruptly.
Yes.
I think they could have had the reunion or something.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know, I thought, again, we don't really see much afterwards, so, I don't know, maybe Gramps lives longer, or obviously it didn't make him look younger or anything, but I think because, yes, they were taking back his blood, but it was mixed with Dio's.
Right.
So it's not, I feel like there should have been something.
Yeah.
Like he got something from it. Or maybe he couldn't sit out in the sun anymore. So, I went and looked up that Polaroid online. That kind of, made me sad, that group.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like Iggy was pretty innocent because he's just a dog.
Yeah.
But, Kakyoin and Avdol were, probably the nicest in the group.
Yeah. And, except for Gramps, they're, all, super young. I think, Avdol, maybe of the younger people might have been, the oldest, might have been, 24 or something, but I'm holy shit. They're all so young. And they had their lives ahead and shit.
Well, that's another thing. I feel like Holly, I don't know, they should, I hope they, tell her what went on and, what those people sacrificed.
Yeah.
And maybe even just kind of, I know, the stands were kind of new to them. Some of them, the Joestar people anyway, it was new to them.
Yeah.
So, what's it like with Gramps and Jotaro not having the stands anymore? I don't know. I just think there should have been more of an ending, in my opinion.
Yeah. Especially, when you consider that Araki had originally intended for this to be the last part, too. There should have been a little bit more closure about some stuff.
Yeah. Or just at least, they go hug Holly and, I don't know, maybe Jotaro, doesn't call her a bitch or something.
Yeah.
Like you kind of see him.
Finally learned misogyny is bad.
Well, like he kind of like actually shows that he values her or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, they went on this whole trip to like save her, but like he was like a dick to her up until she came down with her affliction. So
yeah,
those pictures, they had like a picture of like what it was, I think, in the book too. Polaroid versus like the one in the show. I don't know why he's got like Gramps' his impressed Gramps went with. And then I think this is like the color version of the one in the book.
Yeah.
But it's still like him holding his chin. Here's the book.
Yeah. That looks like the illustration might be from a later part. I can't tell which one just from the art style somehow. It could be like 436.
It could be like a look back or something.
Yeah.
Because it is in a picture frame, I think it's showing there. So, yeah, maybe that's like on somebody's side table or nightstand or something.
Yeah.
But that little drawing makes them all look younger. They do look more like teenage boys than, like Polnareff's not like,
Yeah.
he's muscular, but he's not like, look like a linebacker or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the part 3 art style just makes everyone look like quite a bit older than they are. Like, at least the teens and 20-somethings. They all look like they're 35 years old.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's very satisfying to see Dio killed and turned to ashes. Like, I'm glad that's over. Please tell me that's over. Oh, pumpkin. Nuh-uh.
No, I can't tell you either way.
It better be. Unless it's in Gramps' body, like I suspect. And no. I'm surprised Jotaro kind of wanted to do that. Seeing as, like, what if it did bring Dio back?
Yeah.
He would have had to stab his Gramps with a stake through the heart.
Yeah. I just assume, like, since Gramps was, like, aware enough to, like, prank him, like, maybe he's having, like, an out-of-body experience or something, like, his soul's, like, hovering there watching them do that.
Oh.
Because otherwise I'm like, how would he have reacted quickly enough to be like, I'm going to do a prank on my grandson one more time?
I mean, it just seems like, maybe there should have been a little bit more of, like, a recovery.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's alive, but he's in a coma or something.
Yeah, I mean, it makes for a good fake out, but yeah. I know this is a cartoon, basically, and I'm, like, trying to use logic.
Like, I mean, yeah, I know they were, like, they pumped the body, they pumped the heart and stuff. I mean, there has to be some sort of healing properties in that, because if you just transfuse blood, if the body, like, 'cause I'm thinking Gramps probably had been dead for, like, at least, like, a half hour, maybe an hour, before they got on that, whatever they were in, the car, the truck, or whatever.
Yeah, for it looked like...
You can't just, like, if someone's been sucked dry, they didn't even, like, try to, like, clear and, like, jumpstart his heart or anything. I mean, I know he was pumping it, but, like, I don't think that would have worked just with blood. So, I mean, there has to be, like, some properties to it that, like, with the vampire stuff to, like, bring him back to life, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, it's a cartoon, so it doesn't, like, really comply to, like, real life. I mean, I was kind of hoping, like, some of the people that were killed would be brought back somehow. Or, like, what I had thought was, like, maybe they would. Because I didn't know how long Dio could turn back time.
Right.
That maybe they could turn back time far enough to, like, say, save Kakyoin or something.
Yeah.
That's what I thought possibly might happen. So, I mean, I was kind of pleased that they at least, like, brought back Gramps, but...
Yeah.
Kind of like, but...
Yeah, what about the other 3?
So, anyway, I guess that's really all I have to say. Now you've got, like, we're moving on to the Powerpuff Girls, and I don't really know anything about the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, so I'm not sure what what will be popping up next, and it probably should be kept a surprise for me.
Can I tell you what the next part is called, at least?
I guess so.
Diamond is Unbreakable.
It doesn't really tell me anything.
No, that's partially why I told you it. I'm like, it'll make you think what's going to happen in this part, but it doesn't really give much away.
Yeah. And I mean, like, are we talking about, like, are these going to be, like, Jotaro's children, or, like, what? Are you not going to tell me anything?
I'm not sure I can.
Okay.
I will tell you that at least one of the next three JoJo's is a Jotaro kid.
Well, it kind of has to be, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, what are the next? What are the Powerpuff Girl episodes that we will be covering?
Okay, so as I said in past episodes, since these are most of the season is just like a half-hour episodes instead of two together. So we're just going to be discussing the one, and that one is called Film Flam. I think I remember what that one's about. I won't talk spoilers about it. A lot of people consider this the last good season because it's like the last season, like Craig McCracken worked on it and stuff. And I do, for the most part, agree. It's like there's a couple good episodes sprinkled throughout the last two seasons, throughout season 5 and 6. But for the most part, yeah. There's even like a partial art style change.
Well, that seems goofy.
Yeah, I mean, it looks still enough like, the first 4 seasons, but, like, I guess, like, keen-eyed viewers will notice this and this just changed with these designs. I know, like, they give, like, MoJo, like, some of it, like, is, like, that it looks closer to the designs in the movie. It's, like, MoJo has, like, pointier ears. There's a couple things with, like, the gangrene gang, stuff like that. It's not enough that I'm like, that doesn't look like the Powerpuff Girls at all!
I mean, I guess sometimes, with it being a new season, I could kind of see that, but you would think that there would be continuity unless they just got completely different artists.
I will say probably just like a lot of cartoons back then, there wasn't a ton of continuity. Like they wouldn't always like refer back to episodes later on. I mean, some of it would do that, but like it's not as like, how do I want to say it? It's not as like firm and strict as a timeline as like say a later cartoon, like a Gravity Falls or something.
Because like any episode could happen at any time. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like maybe more like say like The Simpsons or something, where it's like, and then everything is back to normal again, sort of.
Yeah.
Status quo has changed very little.
They kind of stay the same.
Yeah.
Age.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning into what I believe is our 75th episode. Yeah. We hope you enjoyed our JoJo discussions, and I guess if you didn't, we're going back to Powerpuff Girls soon. So maybe you only enjoy half the show, maybe you enjoy all the show. I don't know.
Maybe you enjoy what we pod in the shadows.
Yeah, you could go check out our other podcast as well. Hear us talk about some vampires.
Silly vampires.
Yeah. So as always, hit those like, subscribe, follow, comment, review buttons if you haven't already. We'd love some feedback, and if you and if you leave us a review, we might read it on the pod. But until next time, I'll be the roundabout. Goodbye.
Goodbye.